It's the Packers GM. It could be easy and it could be fast if both sides were committed to it. The problem is, and there's always this danger in negotiations, if you move prematurely toward what it is that you're willing to do, the other side will try to squeeze you off of it when it approaches its own real deadline. So you have to set the deadline, and then as the deadline approaches, you get more and more serious and you move toward your bottom line and you hope that the two sides come together and get a deal done. There's no reason to think they won't, but it's not as simple because we've got half a year of holy crap from Jordan Love. And the first half of last year was like, we didn't know which way it was going to go.
Right.
But did it go enough and well enough the second half of the season and in the playoff win over the Cowboys and in the near miss against the 49ers to get this guy into that $50 million a year club? Man, that would be something if he gets that much of a deal from the Packers.
Well, it feels like they've seen enough, obviously, to lock him up, right? So there is that. And I will say, again, doing my quarterback rankings and all of that and going back and watching film a few times on these guys, man, that second half of the year, Jordan Love was phenomenal. I mean, he's got all the tools, right, to be a star. There's no question about that. Now, I'm not there on an everyday basis and all that, but you read between the lines. You're hearing, Gutekunst talking about long-term contracts. Obviously, they like what they're seeing behind the curtains too, right? And how he leads the team and he's doing all the necessary things. He certainly doesn't blink, under pressure. I mean, who was under more pressure than him last year replacing Aaron Rodgers? And he was smooth and calm doing it, right? And, Mike, I think of them too, like, hey, if all those things line up and they like them and they like we've been talking about the whole damn offseason, get it done. Get it done now. Just make it happen. Right? And like Jordan Love right now is at a point of his career where I don't think he can hold their feet over the fire for like maximization, right? To like your point here where it might be like, wait, I haven't made that much money in my career. Wait, you're going to give me $48 million a year or $50 million right now? If you're sold, he's the guy, do it. Because I'd be worried with this offense, this team. He goes out this year, throws for 4,000 yards again, leads the NFL in touchdown passes. He was second in touchdown passes last year. And, he doesn't make the mistakes at the end of the 49ers game. They're going to the NFC Championship game last year. That was his only blunders at the end of the year. So, if they think he's the guy, do it. Get it done. Listen to Florio. That's what you always say.
Yeah. He went from looking like Aaron Rodgers at his best to Brett Favre at his worst in crunch time. But that's the only negative you can put out there after the first half of the season. And, look, in the past, I've suggested that maybe he shouldn't have done the deal he did last year and he should have bet on himself and said, hey, either pick up my fifth-year option or don't. I'll go out and have a contract year. The reality is by having that security in his contract that covered 2024, he was able to weather the storm in 2023.
That's right.
And it settled down. And they had that 3-game run where it was really on the edge there. And it could have gone very badly for the Packers. But it was just enough for him to start that climb. And the next thing you know, this guy looks like he's going to fit in that unprecedented Favre to Rodgers to Love. It feels like that's going to happen. I think the Packers want that to happen. So it feels like it's going that way, but Obviously. They do have to come to an understanding as to what the number is, and the number is never going to go lower. Jared Goff gets 53. Is Tua going to get his? Is somebody else going to get theirs? Trevor Lawrence is going to keep pushing it high. Just do it now. Do it now. Sit down over a nice steak dinner, have a couple drinks, get the paperwork out, and get it done. It really isn't as hard as they like to make us think that it is. Okay.
So, this is an interesting question to me because here's the thing. First off, I don't think Tua is going to be resetting the market, or Trevor Lawrence for that matter, in any measurable way that now puts the Packers in a difficult situation with signing Jordan Love. Dak Prescott technically, but I mean, giving Dak Prescott, resetting the market through Dak, paying him a whole boatload of money, I think would be a massive mistake. So put that to the side. The Packers, if they think that they can sign Jordan Love right now for a deal that is comparable to Jared Goff, whether it's right around that number, the same number, $1 million more, a couple million less, whatever it may be, then I could see the argument of saying, because he's saying that he wants to get this contract signed. Brian is saying before the training camp. And if that's the case, then you should be thinking, though, that you would be able to get a slightly cheaper deal, that you can save a few million here, a few million there. Because otherwise, if not, then what is the rush then? Because if he balls out this coming season, the money's only going to go so much higher anyway. And there's no risk of him leaving. He's not going to leave. He's not going to leave the Packers. He's not going to force himself out. He's not going to say, yep, I want to walk. I'm out of here. He's not going to do that. It's just not going to happen. He's going to stay with Green Bay. He's going to stay with that team. He's going to stay with LaFleur. He's not going to walk. He's not this isn't like his second or third contract where there's that risk, right? There's real risk that Dak Prescott could leave. And Dak could say, I'm out of Dallas. I'm going to go somewhere else. That's not going to happen with Jordan Love. Where is Jordan Love going to go to? The Carolina Panthers? The Cleveland Browns? He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So, if you're not sure, and you think that maybe he won't ball out this coming season, which I think he will, then you could get him even cheaper technically. But I don't know where, I guess I'm not seeing where the pressure is, where you have to get this done before training camp, outside of you thinking that you can obviously already get him potentially for cheaper if you sign him right now, which again, I'm just not so sure how much cheaper it would actually be. So under that logic, then you would maybe just want to wait to evaluate him. But if you really are so sure that he is the guy, and you don't need to see any more games, you are confident, then you would want to sign him now because you don't want to deal with any distractions. Because you believe this season you can genuinely make the NFC Championship game and even fight for a Super Bowl. And if that's the case, you don't want any contract negotiations messing that up. You don't want any of that drama. You don't want the media to be asking Jordan Love questions. How do you feel that you're leading the NFL in touchdowns or yards, or you're the front runner for the MVP and you don't have a contract? Does that frustrate you at all? Right? You now nullify all of that. None of those questions can be asked. None of that issues, none of those concerns, none of that nonsense. It's just all taken care of. So I can see that from a distraction standpoint. Because if you're looking at this and you're saying the Packers are legit, Jordan Love is legit, I don't need to see any more games. I'm unconcerned that he kind of got off to a rocky start. We know who he is. We know he's legit, and we know he's going to continue to be legit. We're just going to pay him. And again, and under that logic, then it totally makes sense. Sign it now, get it taken now, even if you only do save, because the whole thing is you might save a few $1 million, or you have to spend an extra few $1 million to get an extra X amount of games watching him to say, do I really want to resign this guy? Is he truly the future? I think at the very least, you know that you're not going to move on from Jordan Love. Right? He's already shown you enough where even if he has an average season this season, which I think he won't, right? I think he'll be obviously a really great quarterback. Let's just say he takes a step back from the end of the last season. You're still not going to move on from him. You're still not going to say, all right, we're going to draft another quarterback. We're going to move on from Jordan Love. The only other scenario you see is that Jordan Love really doesn't play that good, and then you're somehow able to sign him for $45 million a year, right? Some sort of Baker Mayfield contract of some sort, or Kirk Cousins contract. But I think that is so unlikely, because I just can't see Jordan Love just having just a completely average season or even a bad season. So I think if you're the Packers, you're going to keep him. You're going to have him be your quarterback for the next 3-4 years, whatever it may be. And if that's the case, well, then you have to pay him. And if it ends up not being exactly what you wanted, it was certainly closer to what you wanted than going out and drafting some other quarterback, because your team is really good. You don't have the time now to go draft another quarterback. You have a ready-made team right now. So unless a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or a CJ Stroud or some of these other quarterbacks were magically available, and Jordan Love proved to not be that good of a quarterback, then you would say, get him out of here. We're going to make a play and just try to buy Josh Allen. We're going to try to buy Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, super unlikely scenarios. But otherwise, Jordan Love's going to be the best quarterback you can have. And he's going to be the quarterback that puts you in the best possible situation to win. You're not going to be able to draft a quarterback at a high enough spot that is going to help this team actually win. The Packers have genuine Super Bowl aspirations. They are a genuine contender to make legitimate noise this year in the NFL. So you need at the very least, a good quarterback. You can't deal with an average quarterback. You need a good quarterback. Obviously, great or elite is even better. So that's why I think signing Jordan Love right now does make the most amount of sense, because what are your other options? You're not going to convince me that it's better off to move on from Jordan Love and then go sign Dak Prescott for $60 million. I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that. You're better off figuring out Jordan Love. If Jordan Love is inconsistent, which I don't think he will be. I think he's going to be a consistent quarterback. I think he's going to be a great to elite quarterback. I think he's certainly better than a lot of these other quarterbacks. And I think he's in the top of the league now. So I think the sky's the limit for Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. So I am definitely of the camp at this point now where signing him right now is probably a pretty good idea. You just get rid of all the distractions, get rid of all the excuses, get rid of all the media attention, and you just get to work, right? You get to work. You believe in him. You believe in your team. So there you go. Just sign on the dotted line and get it done. Otherwise, you do end up like whatever the heck the Cowboys are doing, where it's like, well, do we believe in our quarterback? Do we not? What are we doing? Are we going to let go of CeeDee Lamb? Is Mike McCarthy going to get fired? You don't want to be that. Just get it done. Get it taken care of, and the rest is up to the universe. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys think? Do you think that the Packers should sign Jordan Love as soon as possible, preferably before training camp, or do you think it would be beneficial for them to wait and maybe do it next season, at the end of next season, kind of a similar trajectory with what the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.